National Electrical Code Article 300.3 addresses the occupancy of raceways, cables, boxes, or cabinets by conductors of different systems, voltages, or circuits. This article generally prohibits the mixing of conductors from different systems, voltages, or circuits within the same enclosure. The purpose of this rule is to minimize the risk of insulation breakdown, short circuits, and other electrical hazards that can arise when conductors with different electrical characteristics are in close proximity. However, Article 300.3 does have exceptions. Exception 2 of Article 300.3 allows conductors of different systems, circuits, or classes of voltage to occupy the same enclosure, such as a gutter, provided that the enclosure is suitable for such use. This means that the enclosure must be designed and rated to safely accommodate conductors with different electrical characteristics. Factors to consider when determining the suitability of an enclosure include its size, construction, insulation, and ventilation. The enclosure should be large enough to provide adequate spacing between conductors, and it should be made of materials that can withstand the voltages and currents involved. The enclosure should also be properly insulated to prevent accidental contact with live conductors. Furthermore, the NEC does not explicitly prohibit line-side and load-side conductors from being placed in the same raceway or wireway, also known as a gutter, as long as the enclosure is suitable for such use. In the context of electrical wiring, line-side conductors refer to the conductors that bring power from the source, such as the utility company or generator, to the electrical panel or equipment. Load-side conductors, on the other hand, are the conductors that carry power from the electrical panel or equipment to the various loads, such as lights, appliances, and motors. While the NEC permits the mixing of line-side and load-side conductors in certain situations, common industry practice and safety considerations generally recommend keeping them separate. There are several reasons for this recommendation. Firstly, separating line-side and load-side conductors can help to reduce the risk of electrical hazards. Line-side conductors typically carry higher voltages and currents than load-side conductors, so if they come into contact, it can result in a serious electrical shock or fire. Secondly, separating line-side and load-side conductors can make it easier to troubleshoot electrical problems. If there is a fault on the load side of the circuit, it will be easier to isolate and repair if the line-side and load-side conductors are kept separate. Thirdly, separating line-side and load-side conductors can improve the overall reliability of the electrical system. By reducing the risk of electrical hazards and making it easier to troubleshoot problems, separation can help to prevent downtime and keep the system running smoothly. In summary, while the NEC does not explicitly prohibit the mixing of line-side and load-side conductors in the same raceway or wireway, it is generally recommended to keep them separate for safety and reliability reasons. When determining whether to mix line-side and load-side conductors, it is important to carefully consider the specific application and the potential risks involved. If there is any doubt, it is always best to err on the side of caution and keep the conductors separate. Additional considerations for ensuring electrical safety when working with line and load-side conductors include proper insulation, grounding, and overcurrent protection. All conductors should be properly insulated to prevent accidental contact with live parts. Grounding provides a path for fault current to flow back to the source, which helps to trip the circuit breaker and prevent electrical shock. Overcurrent protection, such as circuit breakers and fuses, is designed to protect the electrical system from damage caused by excessive current flow. In addition to these basic safety measures, it is also important to follow all applicable electrical codes and regulations. The NEC is a comprehensive set of standards that provides guidance on the safe installation and operation of electrical systems. Local codes and regulations may also apply, so it is important to check with the local authority having jurisdiction to ensure compliance. When working with electrical systems, it is always important to be aware of the potential hazards and to take appropriate precautions to protect yourself and others. Electricity can be dangerous, but by following safety guidelines and using common sense, you can minimize the risk of accidents. Firstly, ensure that all electrical work is performed by qualified and licensed electricians who have the knowledge and experience to do the job safely and correctly. Secondly, always to energize the circuit before working on it. This means turning off the circuit breaker or removing the fuse that supplies power to the circuit. Thirdly, use properly insulated tools and equipment. This will help to protect you from electrical shock if you accidentally come into contact with a live wire. Fourthly, never work on electrical systems in wet or damp conditions. Water is a good conductor of electricity, so working in wet conditions can increase the risk of electrical shock. Fifthly, be aware of your surroundings and avoid contact with overhead power lines. Overhead power lines can carry extremely high voltages, so it is important to stay clear of them. Sixthly, if you are unsure about any aspect of electrical work, consult with a qualified electrician. It is always better to be safe than sorry when it comes to electricity. Finally, always inspect the work after it is completed to ensure that it meets all applicable codes and regulations. This will help to ensure that the electrical system is safe and reliable. To reiterate some key points, Article 300.3 provides a general rule against mixing conductors of different systems, voltages, or circuits within the same raceway, cable, box, or cabinet. Exception number 2 provides a conditional allowance. It permits the mixing of conductors if the enclosure is suitable for the purpose. The suitability of an enclosure is determined by factors such as its size, construction, insulation, and ventilation. These features must adequately accommodate the electrical characteristics of the different conductors. Industry best practices often recommend separate raceways for line side and load side conductors. The separation minimizes potential electrical hazards, simplifies troubleshooting, and enhances overall system reliability. Separating conductors reduces the risk of insulation breakdown, short circuits, and ground faults. When combining line and load conductors, several safety measures are crucial. These include proper insulation, effective grounding, and reliable overcurrent protection. Proper insulation prevents accidental contact with live parts, while grounding ensures a safe path for fault currents. Overcurrent protection, such as circuit breakers and fuses, safeguards against excessive current flow and potential damage. Compliance with the NEC and local electrical codes is essential for safe electrical installations. These codes provide detailed guidance on wiring methods, conductor sizing, overcurrent protection, and other critical aspects of electrical systems. Staying informed about code updates and changes is important for electrical professionals. Working with electricity involves inherent risks, and safety should always be the top priority. Following established safety practices, using appropriate personal protective equipment, and maintaining a focus on the task at hand can minimize the potential for accidents. In addition to the NEC, other relevant standards and guidelines may apply to specific electrical installations. These may include standards from organizations such as the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, the National Fire Protection Association, and Underwriters Laboratories. Consulting these resources can provide additional insights and best practices for ensuring electrical safety and compliance. Proper planning and design are essential for any electrical installation. This includes careful consideration of the loads to be served, the available power sources, and the environmental conditions. Selecting the right materials and equipment, using proper wiring methods, and ensuring adequate overcurrent protection are all critical aspects of the design process. Thorough documentation of the electrical system is also important. This includes accurate wiring diagrams, panel schedules, and equipment specifications. Proper documentation facilitates troubleshooting, maintenance, and future modifications to the system. Regular inspections and maintenance are essential for ensuring the continued safety and reliability of electrical systems. Inspections should be performed by qualified personnel and should include a thorough examination of all components, connections, and wiring. Maintenance activities may include tightening connections, replacing worn or damaged components, and testing the operation of protective devices. Effective communication and coordination are essential when working on electrical systems. This includes clear communication between electricians, engineers, and other stakeholders. Coordination is also important to ensure that all work is performed in a safe and efficient manner. Continuing education and training are essential for electrical professionals to stay up to date on the latest technologies, codes, and safety practices. There are many opportunities for continuing education and training, including courses, workshops, conferences, and online resources. Taking advantage of these opportunities can help electrical professionals to advance their careers and provide the highest quality service to their clients. In summary, the safe and reliable operation of electrical systems requires a combination of knowledge, skill, and attention to detail. By following established codes, standards, and safety practices, electrical professionals can minimize the risk of accidents and ensure that electrical systems are installed and maintained in a safe and reliable manner. The information provided regarding NEC Article 300.3 and the mixing of line and load side conductors is for informational purposes only and should not be considered as a substitute for professional electrical advice. Always consult with a qualified and licensed electrician for specific guidance on electrical installations and compliance with applicable codes and regulations. Remember that electrical work can be dangerous, and it is essential to take all necessary precautions to protect yourself and others. By following safety guidelines, using common sense, and seeking professional guidance when needed, you can minimize the risk of accidents and ensure the safe and reliable operation of electrical systems. Always prioritize safety and seek expert advice when dealing with electrical installations. Remember that codes and regulations can change, so staying updated is crucial for ensuring compliance and safety. Electrical safety is paramount, and adherence to best practices is essential for all electrical work.